Okay, welcome. Welcome. So, what I wanted to talk about today, what I wanted to jump on and talk about, I've been doing a lot of these frequently, been noticing. Interesting to find out what will happen because this is live after all. So, today, what I wanted to talk about is I wanted to do something called Spiritual Tuesdays, possibly. So, second here while I'm checking. Wonderful. Okay. Now, I have pulled up this article on people pleasing, as you can tell by the title of this live stream. Now, as I go through this, I'm going to read it and then possibly explain and bring my own things into it. So it says, this is called How Does People Pleasing Negatively Affect Your Mental Health? So it says, imagine walking down a crowded street. You're strolling along, minding your own business, when suddenly someone who is texting while walking um, bumps into you. You know that that person bumped into you and not the other way around. You know that it wasn't your fault and that it was, in fact, their fault. Do you say sorry? So, this incident is how would you just how would you respond? So, that's what this gets to. If your first impulse is to apologize, then you may be a people pleaser. No, I'm not entirely in agreement with that. I mean, it's only pleasant thing to do, a practical thing to do. But here's the question. Was it authentic? Did you mean it? Or are you just saying that because apparently it's a right or wrong thing to do? Not that I'm sitting here saying that it's a bad thing to do it, that it's wrong to do it. No. However, I am breaking the substance on what I'm saying, so I will move on. So, people pleasing means a lot more than saying an automatic sorry in a crowd. But this situation is a paradigm for how people pleasing can affect us. At a basic level, people pleasing is difficultly establishing healthy personal boundaries. So, difficulty establishing boundaries. I think I couple of videos on boundaries where I talk about, what are you healthily detaching from? What are you walking away so that you can feel freer, less drained, better, more in your truth, less overworked, less like a martyr, all these types of things. So we may all struggle with this at some point. However, for someone who habitually people pleases, the issue can be debilitating. People pleasers are motivated by a strong desire for approval and eternal validation. So asking, a person, um, so yeah, fictionally people pleasers, hurting your own self, compromising, who you are. So it can get to that point where, you know, how am I doing? How much should I put in this? Do I look okay? Do I, am I doing a good job? Do you want this done? Do you want this for dinner? Or should I make it, all these types of things. So approval from other people. You want something, then it is a dependency, codependency, as opposed to co-independence. But as codependent, you're depending upon somebody else. Somebody else. And okay, this is a huge reason why I've decided to step on and do this, because where are the nodes of the moon traveling right now? The south node is in Scorpio, and the north node is in Taurus. And maybe a reason why I decided to make my whole channel one is because I incorporate astrology. There's so many things that I do. Maybe, possibly. It's just that kind of a thing. South Node in Scorpio. I was watching several videos, reading up on it. I mean, is, you know, always about, having to lean on and rely on somebody else to give you that validation, somebody else to give you, resources when you need, when, you want to be independent, you want to be self-sufficient, you want, all these types of things. And what was behind that more, the person who holds that power, determining your life, your decisions, all of that, instead of you making that decision, for your own self. You, you know, deciding for yourself. Hey, this, um, and now, I'm not saying that this is entirely bad. However, too much of one thing can lead to a bad thing. And when it gets to the habits, when it gets to that extreme end of it, when it gets to the point where you're compromising your own individuality, yourself, your needs, your wants. I mean, for somebody else. When it would just take away you, compromise you. Just forget all the material, but just you personally. So, well, anyway, um, so maybe insecure in their relationship. Yeah, I'm just looking directly off of this. So, these are not my words. These are not my words. So this insecurity, um, They can be, it says here, conformists. Now, don't take everything I say and everything this says with take it with a grain of salt. But I mean, I can see how that would be conformity. I mean, if you're giving in to other people's opinions and expectations, even when they don't want to, and can make it hard for them to say no. So even when you don't want to, even when you feel that doing this is not going to benefit me, it's not going to serve me, it's just not right for me. It doesn't feel right for me. Doesn't feel, like I'm not taking enough advantage of, what I could do in the, way of doing this or way of getting this or, uh, and not being the Aquarian who says, no, I'm going to be independent. I'm going to, bring my own piece of the puzzle to the table because let's not forget Aquarius relates to communities. So socializing in those communities and, well, being the one who stands out in the best way. Very, very, you know, in your individual truth, in that grounded place of being connected to yourself, knowing yourself, know thyself. Um, so hard to say no. Yes, person. Lip service giver. Now, when I say lip service, I mean that as a bad thing. I mean it as if I were to say someone that is surfacey and fake and not authentic, not truthful, not honest, not sincere, not genuine, and it's just nicely, nicely, nice, and white lies as well. Oh, it's white lies, black lies. It's all lies. Lies, bad. Lies, bad. I don't believe in boxing things. I'll box that. However, lies, bad. I'll put that in its category and call it bad because it's bad. So no, it doesn't matter what kind of lie it is. It does not matter. It's still a lie. You try to change the ingredients on a pizza, it's still pizza. The dough, the crust, the ingredients is the white and the black, the different types of, or the different types of ingredients that you'd put on the pizza. It's still pizza. Not labeling that badly, but I'm just using that as an analogy. Obviously, um, I think that I kind of captured obvious when I say that, but so saying yes, bending over backwards, rising for boys, just to agree, just to make peace. Assume and accept, not being assertive also, not advocating for yourself and what you need. I always think of assume and accept kind of, and I always think of this little, that's the best way to make peace. Um, and that is not authentic. Sometimes you can, get, think those things and convince your mind into believing it because you don't want to argue, you don't want to hurt the relationship, you want to convince yourself, make yourself believe, and thereby maybe saying do things that are not what you truly believe, think, feel. So, um, so, saying no, when they are presented with something they genuinely don't want or don't like, just for the sake of pleasing and making the other person happy and making the other person satisfied, like the person get along better, always looking to that other person, wanting validation and, you know, just, you know, just there's a saying, don't put your own mask on, oxygen mask on others before yourself. So, um, there comes times and places where, it may differ between putting people first, putting yourself first. It can depend. It really, I think, really depends on the situation. However, still, as in, but oh, you're not, as long as, drawing your line in the sand. No, I need to establish this in a healthy way, in a gentle way. No, 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 no. No, saying no, being assertive, standing up for yourself. So, taking the blame for others, even when other people did happen to hurt them. Not being honest, not being in the truth of the situation. Those other people hurt them. Don't think that you need to, twist things and, be that person when that was not true. You drop in and it's not the truth. And that whole, you know, left brain thing, ethics and morals, trying to please others. And the shadow side of that is that you say things that you were maybe pushed to say. You do things that you were pushed to do. Um, you know, that are lies. Even though that they were white lies, they're still lies, and it's not very spiritual. There's something way over there with ethics and morals I would happen to disagree with. Then you would need to blend it with the right brain, come at it from a spiritual perspective, and it doesn't need to be anything extreme, but something with real substance and something that would be natural and would make sense in the heart and the mind to do. Not just the mind, not just things you hear and, oh, it sounds so easy. Sounds like I could do it so easily. Sounds easier said than done when you do it. You waste that opportunity and you fib and just for others, just to get along with others and, pushing things under the rug, just to have peace. When it comes with in, you know, very bad, chaotic situations in relationship, takes talking about it and being honest and working it out, um, you know, collaborating, compromising, and, being in your truth. That's far more admirable than being a people pleaser. So, um, people pleasing isn't a mental illness, but it can be an issue adversely affecting how many people, with or without mental illness, relate to others. How many relate to others. Um, anyway, so relate to others. Most of all, people pleasers try to nourish other people without, oh, key. Yeah. Okay, don't worry about that. So, okay, key phrase in that is that they nourish other people, take care of other people, make sure that they're satisfied and they're content and they're happy and they're, enjoying life and all things are taken care of with them and, all that sort of thing that, that everyone's, um, you know, fed, that I took care of the neighbors and their house is clean, that everyone is, sitting at the table and, with their drinks, all that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, there's many, many examples for this. Generally speaking, I don't want to specigen this as well, but anyway, meaning something that is specific and general at the same time. Kind of black and white. Like when I think of Aries, if you were to say Aries winning the race, like, the finish line and all of that, then that is specific in terms of it being the race, but it's general and, it's, and, there's many, many, many other examples for that. So that's what I mean by when I say specigen. So, nourishing others while not taking care of themselves, while not maybe building a foundation without, doing the self-care, taking a break, taking time out, replenishing, resting, rest and renewal. Um, and think if there's two cards in the Shaman's Dream Oracle by Colette Baron Reid that I have that are replenishing and rest and renewal. You need to take time and do this. And, live the life that you want to, what would make you happy? What would make you feel satisfied? Because when you feel satisfied and nourish yourself, then you can give more open heartedly, more willingly, more kindly, and so much more coming from a loving place when you establish healthy boundaries and say, you know, I love you all. I also need time to take care of myself and allow me that, self advocating. And then once you feel nourished and all of that, then you can really, give your heart, give your time, effort, energy when you enjoy doing it, when it feels good to do it, when you feel good, satisfied by where you're receiving and giving at the same time. Um, you know, just feels like it has more value, more meaning, more substance. Um, and you just feel better, more loving, more giving, more wanting to serve, wanting to be in service when that is all established. So we all know the line they say on airplanes. It became cliche before anyone else put it on their oxygen mask. Okay, said that already. I'm way ahead of that. But this is as true in our own emotional lives as in on airplane safety. It doesn't matter if it's airplane, cafeteria, school, workplace, home, whatever. So when we try to help others without actually being supportive of ourselves, we will end up running out of oxygen, running out of what we need to live and breathe and be healthy. And you know, you live one life, make the most of it. Your body, your life. What do you need to do to nourish and take care of your body, your life? It's your body, your life, your sake, and you know, you want to live a happy life, content life, successful uh, life where you feel good and grateful and abundant and all of these feelings. When instead not putting the mask on. Because when you put the mask on, you have oxygen that you can breathe. Then you can help others because you feel nourished. Then you can help others. Comes back around to you. There was this guy on I Survived that said, "Oh, my wife survived." This is your life that we're talking about. It's not a small sacrifice. It's not a meal. It's not I don't know, a book or whatever. It is your life. Way too extreme. Um, so, when we try to, as it said there, and I'm going to uh, see if I can grab my charger because my computer is running out of battery. Okay. So, I mean, I can't think of a whole lot of other ways to explain this further because really, I mean, it sounds so practical. Um, honestly. Um, so now we're going to look at how it's going to differ from generosity, generous, giving, from your heart, from love, from compassion, from you feel gratitude, you feel abundant, you feel nourished, um, content, willing, satisfied, all these types of things you can give. Really genuine place. So, people pleasing can look an awful lot like admirably generous or helpful behavior. But here is the difference. While true generosity comes from healthy self respect, self care, self love, it's not being selfish. Selfish means that you are doing something because of the ego that hurts others, that harms. It's not spiritual, it's selfish. That's selfish. Doesn't come from the heart, comes from the ego, comes from, you know, what hurts this hurts somebody else, harms somebody else, makes somebody else mad, sad, hurt, angry, frustrated, da 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 da. So, healthy self regard and a genuine happiness from shared enjoyment. From shared enjoyment. Somebody else is enjoying this, you're enjoying this as well. You feel good, just like that other person would feel. You don't feel, overworked, stressed, exhausted, worn out, compromising your body, maybe your health, maybe your time, and all of this. I think of a song from Tori Amos, a beautiful ballad music artist I think I have her listed in my music channels. And there was this one song called Swim to New York State. And if you listen to that song, it relates to this. And I just give it away. This couple lived in Cornwall, England, and the man gave and he gave and he gave and gave and gave and gave. He had to go somewhere else. He had to take a break. He had to start a different life because he had to do what was best for him. The hard situations that there probably were because he wasn't feeling satisfied, feeling nourished, wanted to live a better, more fulfilling, purposeful, more meaningful life. Uh, so I just thought that I'd mention that. So people pleasing comes from a place of lowered self regard, low self esteem, maybe, and a need for the approval of others. You feel good, you feel, you know, strong in your own self. If you constantly, and I mean constantly, so much, so extreme, again, extreme, need others' approval. People pleasers tend to make themselves. Now, it's not a bad thing, however. Remember, too much of one thing, not a good thing. Not a good thing. Doesn't feel very good. Everything in moderation. So, like a guy who went on the hot dog challenge. Everything in moderation. ate so many hot dogs and trained his brain not to fill in the blank. And if you were to be very, very hungry, super hungry, you hadn't had food in a long time, and you had pizza, and you had it. Tasted very, very good, amazing. The second one, not that bad. Then, as you get more full, then you feel content and satisfied. And maybe addictions. I spoke about this before. That maybe smoking, all those things comes from not loving the self. Always on the energy of, oh, I shouldn't be having this, oh, I shouldn't be having this, and that stress. You're just trying to relieve yourself from it by having more and more and more of it, by taking more and more and more of it to relieve that stress, to get rid of that. Try to get rid of that, sitting on that energy, and then that is addiction. You breathe, get grounded. You can take a little, take a nap, and you feel good, satisfied. When you do enough, like I'm doing enough, then I'm overworked, but I have to keep doing this because, people are going to be happy that somehow doesn't feel so good. You just feel like you're not gaining too much out of it, or compromises your authentic self. Then it's time to draw the healthy boundaries. So, people pleasing tends to make themselves subservient to others out of a desire for approval. Maybe it could come from, again, being the martyr, which can be debilitatingly strong. They may find it difficult to take independent stances, to stand up for themselves when they really need to. When they really need to. All trying to make peace and all trying to not waste others' time, do this and this and this. Make others happy, make others just their lives easier, not being a pain, this and this and this. People pleasing. Shadow of the left brain. Shadow of all of those ethics and morals that we claim in society. Maybe it's one of the shadows. Could be a big shadow, but yeah. So, fundamentally, people pleasing comes from an insecure sense of self and a desire to base the entire sense of self giving your power away, giving yourself away, selling yourself to others, needing validation in a way that compromises yourself. That is South Node in Scorpio. North Node in Taurus is you being in alignment with your values, the things that you want to be happy, the resources that you need. Maybe it comes from making your own money. That's just an example of that. Just throwing it out there. Um, Content, trust, healthy boundaries, and just satisfied. North Node and Taurus, studying North Node and Taurus and what the nodes of the moon are about. Shadow, light side of South Node, Scorpio, empowerment, transformation, letting go. Letting go, so many things relating to others. I mean, I'm not here to do the whole thing on the notes. I'm just tying it in. But or you can use that to reach the North Node. Again, these nodes are so important. I include them in there for good reason. So this can come from a traumatic family history, either experience of a trauma or toxic or abusive relationships where, you know, so many things you know, and so many areas we can look up. So I'm gonna skip this category and I'm gonna move on to the final category. It's okay to put yourself first. Let's go back to the credit sidewalk. Blowing your fuse at every stranger who bumps into you in public is a recipe for stress. Not to mention for being an unpleasant person. But the underlying mindset in this situation can definitely be problematic. And how I'm interpreting this, okay, that was life saying you know, it's bad to be authentic, put yourself first. It's not either or. Both and. Both and. You can both. Put yourself first. Focus on your own needs, goals, and desires. What you need, what you want, this and that. Without hurting others. So understanding what you are and are responsible for, setting boundaries, learning to be more assertive, self-protective, and selfish in a good way. Selfish in a good way. Absolutely. Still, I am reading that and I'm thinking you have got to influence that big time. Don't just put it out there. Broadcast it to some place where so many more people will see that because so often, and this is why I read that going label selfish as being bad because so many people do. Oh, well, leading back to them and me. Who knows? That gets complicated, but let's face it. You hear the word selfish being spread around as being a bad thing. I think that needs to be differentiated and put into a certain place where self-caring or self-centered or anything that can just flow in conversation flows off the tongue. That is accurate, which that is. However, it's not accurate enough because there is a label on selfish as being so bad. So when you didn't mean any harm, you were just doing what felt right for you. And so anyway, taking on the burden of others' expectations, responsibilities, and judgments isn't only bad for us, it's a waste of your life. It's bad for the other people in our lives who may not have to take accountability for their own actions and responsibilities if we are constantly trying to please them. If you feel like you've been did, 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 did. So, if you feel that you've been a people pleaser, practice saying no. Um, it will better yourself and it will really, really help the relationships in your life. That's what it says. I don't think that I'd say something that I wouldn't believe in from this. That's why I skipped over the thing from women. I didn't want to talk about that. Back up. What do you believe? Or just reading this off. So yeah. So anyway, thank you for watching. Like this video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell so you get notified about my future videos. Share it somewhere else. And when you like, more people will see it. So you can make that choice whether or not to do that. Thank you for watching.